everyone, welcome back to another lesson. Today we're doing part 2 of two-step equations. We've already done a couple of two-step equations in our previous lesson, and we're going to continue working on that here today. So let's go ahead and get started. So here we have a statement here that x over 5 is the same thing as 1/5 times x. Go ahead and pause the video. I want you to think about show why or explain why this is true. Okay, these two expressions right here are the same thing, x over 5 and 1/5 x. Go ahead and try to think about and explain why this is true. So the reason that this is true is because if you take a look at the 1/5 x, 1/5 x means 1/5 times x. Okay, and x is the same thing as x over 1. So what we have is 1/5 times x over 1. And since 1 times any number is just that number, and when we multiply fractions, we multiply across the top and the bottom. So 1 times x is x, and 5 times 1 is 5, so therefore we get x over 5. So 1/5 times x over 1 is the same thing as x over 5. So therefore we have 1/5 x right here is going to be the same thing as x over 5. Okay, so let's take a look at our first question. We have x over 2 minus 6 equals -8. Okay. Here, I haven't shown you guys how to do x divided by 2 over here. We've always had some sort of coefficient in front of x. So what we can do is we can rewrite x over 2 as 1/2 x. So therefore we rewrite it as 1/2 x. So therefore this part right here, x over 2, is the same thing as 1/2 x because of what we talked about. What we talked about above, that x over 5 is the same thing as 1/5 x. Okay, so we can rewrite it like that, and then from there we know how to solve it. We have to get rid of this constant first. We have to undo, so go backwards in terms of order of operations, and we add 6 to get rid of the -6, and add 6 to both sides because of the golden rule of algebra. And what we get is 1/2 x equals -2, because -8 plus 6 is -2. Then what we do is multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of the 1/2, and we can do some cross canceling right here. And what we get is x equals -4, because -2 times 2 is -4. And if we plug it in, -4 into x over here, what we get is -4 divided by 2 minus 6 should get us -8. -4 divided by 2, that should say -2. I don't know why that doesn't say -2, so let me fix that. That should say -2, not -4, because -4 divided by -2 is, in fact, -2. Okay, and then -2 minus 6 gets us -8. So -8 equals -8. Therefore, we did it correctly. Let's take a look at this one. We have 2x over 5 plus 3 equals 5. Again, I haven't shown you guys how to do 2x over 5, but I have shown you how to do 2/5 x. So what we do is we change this 2x over 5 into 2/5 x, because we just bring this x out because it's in the numerator. Once in the numerator, we can do that. So we have 2/5 x plus 3 equals 5. We subtract 3 from both sides and get rid of this constant 3 right here. And what we're left with is 2/5 x equals 5 minus 3 is 2. Multiply both sides by the reciprocal, and we can do some cross canceling right there. And what we get is x equals 5. Then, if we plug in 5 for x in our original equation, we get 2 times 5 over 5, which is plus 3 should get us 5. 10 divided by 5, because 2 times 5 is 10. plus 3 should get us 5. 2 plus 3 equals 5. And 5 equals 5. And we did it correctly. So I want you guys to go ahead and try to solve this, solve for x inside this equation by first changing this x over 5 into a term that has some coefficient in front of the x. Go ahead and try that out on your own. What you should have done first is change this x over 5 into 1/5 x, like right here, okay? And then added 3 to both sides, so 5 plus 3 is 8. And then what we're left with is 1/5 x, multiply both sides by 5 over 1. Should have gotten that x equals 40. And if we plug in 40 over here for x, what we get is 40 over 5 minus 3 equals 50. 40 divided by 5 is 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. Sorry, I said 50 beforehand. 5. So both sides equal 5. Therefore, we did it correctly. So, to finish off this lesson, I want you guys to answer the following questions, and they'll pop up. How can we rewrite the expression 4x over 5 so that it has a coefficient? Okay. And then go ahead and do that. What you should have gotten is that the expression that we can rewrite it as into is 4/5 x. Okay. And then on a separate piece of paper again, I want you to go ahead and solve this expression right here. Solve for x. So the first thing that you should have done for this equation is change this x over 3 into 1/3 x. What you have is 1/3 x minus 4 equals negative 11. Okay. So that's the first step. Then what we're going to do is get rid of the constant because we're undoing the order of operations. So we're going to do addition and subtraction first. Get rid of the constant of 4 right there. Okay. And we're going to result in 1/3 x equals negative 11 plus 4 is negative 7. Then you're going to multiply both sides by 3 over 1, which is the reciprocal of 1/3, in order to get rid, 3 over 1 times 3 over 1, to get rid of the 1/3 coefficient, which results in cross-canceling. And as a result, we have x equals negative 21. Okay, so our final answer is x equals negative 21. And if we follow the checking procedure, we plug in negative 21 over 3 minus 4 gets us negative 11. Negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7 minus 4, which should get us negative 11. And if we did keep change, negative 7 plus negative 4 does in fact result in negative 11.